99% of developers don't know Spring Boot. We've seen this term where you're not an engineer, you are a frameworker. I think it's a reality, and for the people that I've seen that they've used Spring Boot, they'll just go and use at REST controller, at Spring Boot application, at enable async, get mapping, maybe at the at transactional annotation. But don't have no clear understanding of what is going on behind the scenes. Now, that's not really your fault, to be honest. And, the people that build, these frameworks, they built in a way that you could just focus on your business logic. Instead of having to repeating the configuration for every single application, you just basically use the framework, annotations, and job done. Now, this is actually very dangerous, right? Because if you go to an interview and they ask you, how the Spring Boot works, can you actually explain how it works? Many of you don't know exactly how to create an annotation. So, for example, how to create a custom annotation. A lot of people don't know this. So in this video, I want to show you exactly what you should be doing instead if you want to have a full understanding of Spring Boot. And this will help you if you want to make custom decisions, if you want to change the way that sometimes the framework behaves. And in a nutshell, remember, you should be an engineer, right? So you should be someone that is able to understand and if it comes, maybe you join a company and the company does not use Spring Boot or Spring Framework, then what? Right? Are you able to understand what is going on behind the scenes? So myself, the first time I learned Spring Boot, I was like, wow, this is so easy, because I had experience, on a large code base without Spring and Spring Boot at all. And we had our custom annotations, main application, or in this case, the main entry point for each application. We had a set of standards, and yeah, it just made sense because, I could see what happened behind the scenes, right? So in here, I do have this repo, and you can find this repo within our academy. So this repo in here, basically, it's a cut down version of the Spring Boot Spring Framework, and it basically teaches you exactly how to configure all of this from scratch, right? So going from, we've seen, the models, we've seen the controllers in here, and we've seen the service. So this is very, very typical. But you see at service, for example, at request controller, request mapping, all of these are annotations that we actually build. So here, have a look. So at auto-wired, for example, so this is how you define a custom annotation. You just basically say public and then at, and then the word interface, and then the name of the annotation, and then you can specify where this annotation is used. So maybe it's used within a field or within a constructor. So in this case, both. And then the retention policy, you have runtime, and I think you also have the source in here, or a class as well. So if I show you, for example, get, so this actually can only be used within methods, right? So this is how you use it. And then you can see here we have the value, which is a default, and this is the URL. So anytime you use this annotation, so in here, if I click on this, so this can actually say, I can pass a value inside in here, right? So I can say lol, for example, okay? So this is how these annotations work. The other thing also that Spring or the Spring framework gives us is dependency injection. So how do you actually implement dependency injection? So here, this is a complete implementation where you have the container, and then you have a map in here of list of classes in here. So the class, and then the object, and obviously here, it's using generics. And if you don't know much about generics, we teach this within the academy as well, and the courses that we have. Also, we have bean types, and then under constructor in here, and then we have the register, which takes basically any class and then adds to bean types in here, and then it creates. So the first pass in here, and then also the second pass, which is to inject the fields. Now the creation process in here, this is using reflection. And again, many of you never heard about reflection. What it is, very, very important, right? And you can see here, so basically it allows us to create classes at runtime, manipulate, set the setters, etc. Okay, so here have a look, constructor set accessible equals to true, and then here we are creating a new instance during runtime. Okay, so this basically is implementation for inversion of control in here, and this is the heart of dependency injection. Also, how does, so when you send a request to your server, what happens, right? So we have JSON serialization and deserialization. So I remember this back in the days at uni, learning all of this, doing all the parsing, and then from JSON to JSON. And yeah, so basically for us, we don't see this because this is happening under the scenes for us, and it's like magic, right? But we just have to be aware of how things work and what is in this for us, right? So in our case in here, so what we are using is, so right here, actually we're not even using any library actually. So have a look, this is all custom Java stuff in here. And then basically also we are using, so if I click on field, for example, so this in here comes from the java.lang reflect. Okay, again, so very important that you understand, how, such things actually work. So we actually have a library that does all of this for us. But again, I think the most popular one is, I think it's Faster or Jackson Faster XML. Also web servers in here, right? So we have a web server. So you've seen time and time again, service started on localhost 8080, right? Like we just add, a dependency, and then we get all of this for free. But how do we configure one, right? So in here we have the router in here, which maps the requests to the controller. We also have the port, and then here we actually create the HTTP server ourselves. In here, have a look. We create the server, and then we set the context in here, and then we have the router. Have a look, the router. So this is how we get the request method in here, the URI as well from the path, right? So from the exchange in here, and then we have the router, and then with the router we actually pass the method as well as the path. And if you look at the router, so this route in here, so this is what's doing all the routing for us. Okay, so again, so if the annotation is not REST controller, then we don't register this controller. Okay, if the annotation is present, so request mapping in here, then we get the base path, and then we actually go through the methods. We get the declare methods. If it's instance, so if this annotation is present in here, we can actually, so here, method get annotation, get class dot get value, right? So this is how you extract the path from it, and then you say routes dot add, and then basically this is how you add. So you add your routes, right? So register controller. Then the other thing is, so we have the handle in here. Have a look, handle, right? So this goes through routes in here, and then it invokes. Now this invoke method, have a look, result, have a look, route dot method dot invoke, and then the controller in here. Okay, and then convert the return value to JSON for HTTP response, and then we also have try and catch, and then we return the 500, for example. Okay, so this is pretty much a good, and obviously we have the main class in here, which if I run this to you actually, so I just want to make sure that this works actually. So this is the mini Spring application, right, where we're assembling literally everything, including the logs in here. So scan classes in here, package, class loaders. Basically Spring does all of this for us. However, are you able to have a conversation with someone and explain exactly, how Spring Boot works? Well, this is the hope of this video and this project right here. So if I click on main, for example, so here, this is, if I run this class, so there we go. So you can see that we have mini Spring started, and then localhost 8080. So let me just take this, and I think we can just send a request like this, new, and then is it HTTP, or yeah, HTTP request, and then example, and then this is a get. Let's just send a get to https localhost / I don't think we have anything in there. There we go. So not found. So this is what we handle by default, but I think the user controller, the path is API v1 and then users. Okay, so / paste that, remove that / in there and run it, and you can see that we have something that comes from the backend 200, and then the response is in JSON in here. All right, perfect. Now obviously there's a lot more, and this is not production ready. You know, we're not connecting to a database, we're not doing security, and this is what Spring Security and Springboot and all of these other add-ons solves for us. So instead of us having to write a bunch of code, we just use existing code that people wrote, and it's been tested in production and it's been used for many years, and then we just leverage, right? However, so the goal, remember, so right now you need to think about being an engineer. Okay, so think about being an engineer, not a frameworker. And if you want to customize things, how do you do it? Are you able to have an understanding where to go, right? So yeah, so I think this is quite nice, and you know, many companies are using Spring Boot in production. Netflix, a bunch of fintechs, a bunch of startups, a bunch of, I mean, Spring and Spring Boot, they're the most popular frameworks for the Java ecosystem. Everybody's using it, and you'll be surprised how many people don't know how it works. Cool. Hopefully you learned something quite useful from this video. And as I said, I'm going to leave a link where you can find the repo for this project in here. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next one.